Hey, welcome back. Look at question number 23, you guys. Notice how the answer choices, if we look at the answer choices, what do you notice? Right? We did this for question number, I think it was number 20, number 21, right? Where we noticed, where we took a look at, boom, like we have the same type of answer choice, right? This future tense, will double. Right? So whenever you guys notice look at here, will be experiencing, right? So whenever you notice the future tense is one of your answer choices, we also have different tenses, right? We have the past tense here, we have the past perfect here, and we have the present tense here, right? So we have various verb tenses, right? So we know, but especially when you see the future tense, right? The will plus the verb, then you know that one of the things you're being tested on is verb tenses, right? Well, why is that important? It's important because when I know I'm being tested on verb tenses, I know there are certain context clues that I'm looking for, right? So context clues are context just means the surrounding information. So the SAT leaves clues, right? Leaves details, right? In the surrounding information, right? What's the surrounding information? Surrounding information is the stuff that's not underlined, right? So it could be, this stuff, it could be this stuff, it could be whatever it is, right? It's just the surrounding words, right? The not underlined blank words, right? So that's the context clues. Well, the SAT will leave important context clues to solve every question on this test, right? But the thing is, if you know what the SAT is testing you on specifically, like if I know the SAT is testing me on verb tenses here specifically, there's very specific types of context clues that I'm looking for, right? And that's the power of recognizing what you're being tested on, right? So now I'm going to teach you guys, these are the two context clues that you need to know, right, to help you to solve verb tense questions correctly on this test, okay? So the first context clue that you have to be aware of is I call time references, right? So these are just like references to time, so using words that refer to certain time periods, right? So if I said in the 1990s, that's referring to the past tense. If I say today, it's referring to the present tense. If I say 10 years from now, it's referring to the future tense, right? So the time reference is an important clue to look for, right? It's one of those. And it's actually the first clue that you want to be looking for. You won't always see it, right? But if it's there, take advantage of it because that is going to be the signal, the clue that tells you which verb tense to use, right? So for example, if I just say, today, then it doesn't make any logical sense to use the past tense, right? If I say today, or if I say next week, it doesn't make any sense to say the past tense or the present tense, right? So if I say next week, I run 10 miles, doesn't make any sense. If I say next week I ran 10 miles, doesn't make any sense, right? It's like the verb tense and the time reference kind of have a conflict, right? Conflict of interest, because one is telling you about something that happened before, and the other one is telling you about something that will happen, that is yet to happen, right? So it doesn't make any logical sense, right? So time references, check. The second thing, you guys, is going to be other verbs, right? So you want to see how the writer writes these other verbs. Does the writer use these other verbs in the present tense or the past tense? Now, why is that important? Well, because usually the writer wants to stay consistent with how he writes or talks about topics, right? So how he talks about things. So if you're talking about like a book, right, then you don't want to be, and you want to talk about the book in the sort of same way, right, using the same tenses. So if you're going to use the present tense, you could say, well, hey, this book is about this person, right? This person is nice. This person has, right, 10 dogs. This person goes to school. And you just continue to use the present tense verbs, right? So other verbs are important to look for. It's a context clue as well to help you to figure out which tense to use. And again, the reasoning behind that is verb tense consistency, right? You want to keep verbs that are part of the same explanation in the sort of same tense, okay? So here, what I noticed is you don't have any time references, right? But you do have other verbs that you're looking for. Now, ideally, you want to look for other verbs in the sentence that the underlying verb is a part of, right? So this one here, starting with in the book of salt. But if there are no other verbs in this sentence, then you can look at the previous sentence. When you're doing this, you guys, the mistake that I see a lot of students make is that they just look randomly for words that look like verbs. Don't do that. Right, reread the sentence, right, and then that'll help, and then identify the verbs in the sentence, right? So how that looks is like this. It says, in the Book of Salt, for example, the exiled character of bin connects. Oh, connects is a present tense verb, right? So this character connects to his native Saigon through the food he prepares. While in bitter in the mouth, the character of Linda experienced a form of synesthesia whereby the words she hears evokes taste. Okay, so notice how, right, when the writer is talking about two different characters, right, in different books, right? The Book of Salt, and in Bitter in the Mouth, right? And he's talking about two different characters in those books. But notice how he talks about the first character, exile character of Bin, talks about Bin in the present tense, right? Bin connects. So you want to, because you're talking about the same thing, right? The topic is about the general characters in these books. You want to use the same tense. You want to keep the tenses consistent, right? So this is why you want to choose answer choice C for this question here, because answer choice A is the past tense, right? Answer choice B is what's known as the past perfect tense. And answer choice D is a form of the future tense, right? Whenever you see will, you're thinking future tense, okay? So that'll be it. Keep your tenses consistent, right? Now, students will ask me here, how you want to look for the context clue, you guys? Students will ask me, well, is there a best way to look for it? Well, I do it in this order. I look for time references first, right? And then I look for other verbs. That's the order. If I don't have to look, sometimes if I have the time reference, I don't have to consider the other verb if I don't want to. I want to check the sentence that the underlined verb is a part of, right? First. And if there are no time references or other verbs in that sentence, then I can look at surrounding sentences, right? The sentence before, the sentence after, depending on which one I think is the most relevant one, right? Which one's the most kind of fitting. And that'll be it, you guys. Hopefully you guys learned something here. If you guys did, please comment in the comment box below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.